Well, we're back this week for another edition of Te Akau TV. We're joined by Te Akau racing manager Reese Trumper. Reese, you're at Te Akau Stud today.
Yes, I am, Hazy. Dave and I are just working through the last shares selling in the horses. The farm's looking remarkably well for this time of the year. There's so much grass around. There's a lot of horses from the stable spelling here, and they're doing incredibly well with the warm temperatures and the good feed they're getting. So it's really good out here.
And Reese, one that you've had your eye on while you've been out there this morning is the lot 358, the Bivouac Whitehaven Bay Bale Brown colt. This colt was purchased in the Magic Million sale, Reese.
He was purchased off a breeder called John Camilleri, who is one of the best breeders in Australia. He obviously bred Winks. He knows how to breed a good horse, and this colt was just an outstanding individual. He's out of a Piero mare, out of a High Chaparral mare. He's just got a lot of class about him, and he's an ideal sort of up and going horse. Bivouac was a remarkable racehorse. Obviously, loved running at Flemington and flew up the straight many times. He's got a good walk. He honestly is a beautiful animal. He's come to the stud. He's let down really nicely. He's got a stylish attitude about him, and he's just a remarkable individual.
And he is a half sister to Vancouver as well. Oh, sorry, the 3/4 sister to Newlands, which was a half sister to Vancouver. So some pretty nice blood there on the page as well.
It is. It's a nice pedigree. Like I said, John Camilleri, he only breeds absolute class. He bred Winks. He races a really good horse out of Princess Cope called Argentia. If you haven't seen his colours around, he does breed a lovely horse, and we're happy to have purchased him. There was a lot of people on him, and to secure him for Te Akau is going to be great, and he will race from the Cranbourne base.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know he had this horse as a colt, but Imperatriz was purchased from that same sale and one of the last to sell in her year as well at a similar price point. So if you're interested, then get involved with the weekend over the weekend. I'm sure the team would be happy to talk and have you in the team. So a big week of racing coming up, particularly over at the Valley with, I think, 6 or 7 runners. We're going to cross over to Ben Gleeson later in the show. But for now, Reese, we'll touch on the winners of the week that's been and also talk about some of those horses nominated there at Tauranga and Riccarton. But in terms of those winners from last week, at Tauranga, we had 4 in a row there with Family Ties, Fashion Shoot, Valentine and Aquis. A pretty impressive performance.
It was a great day out. Obviously, good hour and a half, winning 4 in a row. Family Ties for John and Denise, and Glenn and Kathy and Gilbert Southworth. It was great to get so many winners for them this season, and to pick up this one that they're all in together is a massive buzz. Obviously, it was a good ride by Jessica Allen. She got to the front, sat outside leader, dictated it, and she didn't look like she was going to get beaten when they turned for home. And Fashion Shoot, great ride by Kelly. We opted to go to the 14. We thought it was a better path leading into the thoroughbred breeders in the Cuddle. It was a good ride. She got back into the spot we thought she would. She presented her down the outside, and it was a really strong finish. The step up to a mile off a good speed, hopefully in the thoroughbred breeders, will be ideal for her. Aquis, another great win for Sir Peter Vella. We love racing horses in his colours. And she's really come to it this mare. She's just strengthened up this season, and she's putting together a really nice record. And Valentine, it was really good to win it in the room. Obviously, the horse that did win it was lugging all over him up the straight, but it looked like he was going to win all the way there. And yet again, another really good ride by Jessica Allen. She's really come back riding really well going into the winter, so she's going to have plenty of confidence, and that 3 kg claim will be soon gone.
Excellent, and an awesome result there for Rodney and the team at Windsor Park as well, who I know you love racing horses with as well, Reese.
We do.
Moving across to Tauranga there on Saturday, we're going to kick off in race number 1, the Bailey's Tauranga and Mount Maunganui 3-year-old set weight and penalties 1400. 2 horses take their place. El Viento draws barrier 5 with Wiramu Pin on board, and Vivacious, she was pretty impressive coming from wide out there at Hawke's Bay and running a very competitive race there last start as well.
El Viento is really flying. His win at Matamata was top class. There was obviously a bit of interference with the horses inside of him, but he was out of trouble and he really attacked the line strongly. From the draw, he's going to get back. He is a horse that can get up and over racing, but if we can just get him relaxed and breathing out of the gate straight away, he'll make a real big impact in the finish. Wuramu Pin has been riding a lot of work for us, and he's ridden this horse and he really likes him, gets on with him well. Vivacious, probably a bit of a sticky barrier for her. She's going to get locked up on the inside. Doesn't look like there's going to be a genuine tempo, but she is a really class filly on her day. We had to scratch from the Wellington Guineas. We had a little bit of a niggle there, but she's bounced back well this week, and we're happy with the way she's heading into it.
Excellent. Race 3, the Peter Clark Bailey's Residential 1400, rating 75. Freeze frame was good, coming from well back at Matamata last start, being a pretty handy field of gallopers.
It was a really good ride by Opie to get that win, and he's gone the right way since then. His work's been good. The 4 weeks between races has been ideal for him. Jessica Allen's obviously riding in great form. He's drawn a gate that'll help him. He'll be midfield with cover, and as long as he has plenty of bums to follow, he'll be right in the finish.
Excellent. And race 4 there, the Triton Pacific Owens Plate, rating 82, benchmark 1200. Ari has come out of some pretty competitive fields there through the Christmas and summer period, running in the J-Swap sprint and then the Group 2 Ritual Mile. And before that, placed second behind the railway winner, Waitak.
She's going really well. She's freshened up nicely since the Ritual Mile. Obviously, a mile was just too far for her, but we had to try. She was down on the minimum. She's come back in great order. Her trial was good. Jessica Allen rides her in all her track work at home. She gets on with her really well. She has good gate speed, but will probably sit for a bit of cover. Ideally, you could see her being in the 1-1. It is a small field, but there is plenty of quality to it. But I definitely think that she's forward enough for a bold showing.
Excellent. In race 6 here, the Sharon Hall Bailey's Residential 2100, rating 65, benchmark Devoted, draws barrier 12 with Jessica Allen on board.
He's going really well. It was a good effort last start at Matamata. If he hadn't hung out the last 50, I'm sure he would have been close to winning it. But his work since then has been good. Jessica Allen gets on with him really well. From the draw, he's got a couple of options. If he was to jump out well, he has tactical speed to roll forward, but I do see him being in the second half of the field, trying to look for a bit of cover, being over 2100. He's raced well at Tauranga in the past, and he definitely looks a nice each-way chance with his $12 he's paying.
And race 7, the Group 2 Ultimate Mazda Japan Trophy, open set weight and penalties. I believe this might have been taken out by Brando last year or the year before. A handy field of gallopers again. Cognito draws barrier 15 with Wuramu Pin on board, and Aotea Lad, very strong last start in the Kaimai Stakes, draws barrier 5 with Craig Grills on board.
Cognito's going really well. The draw doesn't worry us at all. He does lack gate speed, so he will be in the second half of the field, but we'll be doing everything we can to warm him up and have him ready to go. To just take the blinkers off, put the shadow roll on. His work's been excellent this week. He looks good. The step up to 1600 off a good solid finish over 14 last start was ideal. The set weight and penalties is ideal for him. It makes him very well placed, being a Group 2 winner last season. Does tick a lot of boxes. Right-handed, he has one as well, so he's going the right way. Aotea Lad, he just continues to keep racing well. He's obviously a rising 8-year-old. He was good enough to win a Group 2 in his first start as a 2-year-old. So it just shows we've looked after him right along. From the draw, he's going to end up in a really nice spot. Craig Grills is obviously riding really well. He should land hopefully 2 or 3 sets back, one off. And the 4 weeks between the step back to the mile will be ideal for him, and I expect him to be right in the finish as well.
Excellent. And over to Riccarton there on Saturday as well. Nuclear Zor in race number 2 backed up a really good trial with a strong win on debut there, and Discretion Rules wasn't far behind, coming third in that same race.
Nuclear Zor obviously went in with the right form lines. His trial was excellent at Riccarton, and he really had to finish off strongly. So the step up to the 1,000 will be ideal for him. We're happy with him. He's going to be out of trouble from that draw, and we expect him to go really close again. Discretion Rules, his work with blinkers on Tuesday was excellent. Hunter Durant, who is running the stable down there, was absolutely thrilled with him. And if he was to turn the tables, it wouldn't be a surprise to us, because his trial was over 950 and then he did race over 800. So he did race a bit dour, but he's gone the right way since, and the blinkers have really sharpened him up.
Race 3, the Peterson's Jewelers Ladies Bracelet, 3-year-old set weight and penalties. Mazzucato draws barrier 5, Lily Sutherland on board.
She's going really well, this filly. Her run at Wanganui was excellent when finishing off so strongly. Probably just didn't suit Wingatui Racecourse. Back to Riccarton, where she's won before over the 1,400 metres, is ideal for her. She's going to end up in a nice spot. Hopefully she can be tardy from the barriers at time to time, but we'll be doing everything we can to put her in the first half of the field for sure.
And sense of timing comes out of the NZB Air Freight Stakes, which was a bit like the Dodgem cars there a couple of weeks ago, but really got home strongly late. Has to be a pretty good chance from the sticky gate in barrier 12 with Ashwin Gundasamy on board.
Exactly. She rattled home strongly. It was good to get some more black type for her. From the draw, she's probably going to get back. It's not ideal, but Riccarton's a big roomy track. Every horse will get their chance up the straight. And if she can bring the same form lines again, she should be right in the finish.
Lady of Court draws barrier 8 with Naranjan Palmer on board.
No luck whatsoever. Last start, Naranjan Palmer jumps back on, who won on her. He knows her really well. He rode her in all her track work up in Matamata. She's not the easiest ride in the world, but he seems to get on with her really well. She'll get into a nice position from that draw. And if she can bring her 2 starts ago form, she should be very hard to beat.
And race 4, the Johnny Fresh, Darfield and Yoldhurst Open Sprint, Open Handicap. Perfect scenario, back-to-back White Robe Lodge sprints, backs up here, but in a really rich vein of form.
He's going really well. He just had a bit of a freshen up since that mile, so the step back to 14 is ideal for him. Donovan Cooper takes the 4 kgs off, brings his weight down to very competitive weight of 58 kgs. From the draw, he's going to get a nice soft run in transit. He does tick a lot of boxes. He's raced well at Riccarton in the past, so expect him to be right in the finish again.
Race 7, the Selwyn District Council TAB Southern Alps qualifier, rating 65 benchmark. Bella Mio draws barrier 7. Best form has been on soft or heavy ground?
It has. The first time up to the mile will be ideal for him, the way he's been racing. The 1,400 metres, he's been finishing off really strongly. He's going to get a nice run in transit from that draw. He has been getting stuck along the inside. He's a big horse that probably isn't the place for him to be, but he'll be out in the open, and expect him to be really finishing off strongly, and he'll be in the finish.
And Bo Brummel, the team threw the hat into the ring there and ran him last start in the listed Southland Guineas, but he didn't disgrace himself there.
No, he didn't. He finished off really strongly. Obviously, the tight turning track wasn't ideal for him. We gave him a quick freshen up. His trial on Tuesday was excellent. It's not a normal thing for us to trial horses Tuesday, race and Saturday, but with lack of options, we just had to. But he's a good doing sort of horse. From the draw, it is going to make it a very tough task. Where he ends up in the running, I'm not 100% sure. But on his day, he is a good horse, and at Riccarton, a big roomy track suits him.
And our Millie B wraps up the runners in that race, draws barrier 13 with Lily Sutherland on board.
She continues to race well this preparation. She's been finishing off strongly her last 2. Lily Sutherland's claim will help her. She's not the biggest horse in the world. Where she gets from that draw, I'm not sure. She does lack a lot of gate speed, but the step up to 1,600 metres is ideal for her.
And race 8, the Group 3 Valachi Down South Island Thoroughbred Breeders Stakes for the fillies and mares, set weight and penalties over 1,600 metres. Elegant Lady has really kind of strung together a nice little array of form there, coming second in the Dunedin Gold Cup last start. Has a nice draw in barrier 5 in the services of Naranjan Palmer.
Continues to keep raising the bar down there, and she's looking well. The team's really happy with the way she's been working. The mile obviously could be a bit sharp for her, but being at Riccarton, it will help. It is a track that every horse will be given their chance. Naranjan Palmer gets on with her really well, and it'd be ideal if she could pick up a black type success after having a couple of placings in them.
Race 9, the Selwyn Rakai Vet Services, rating 75 benchmark 1,200. Stella Splendida and Caravella both take their place in this field, and they both come out of the same race where they ran 1 and 2 last up.
They're going really well again. Stella Splendida obviously has the weight swing this time, whereas she didn't the other day. She obviously had to show something last start, but it was good that she did, and she finished off really strongly. So we'll ride her much the same again. Just get her breathing, get her happy in behind horses, and we expect her to finish off really strongly. Naranjan Palmer gets on with her well. Caravella, it was really good to see her get down there and win. She's really racing well, and genuinely this preparation, obviously a place in the Pull the Wine a couple of starts ago, that's really good form. She's going to get a nice run in transit from the draw. Ashwin Gundasamy is riding a lot of track work down there, including riding her in her work, and he's been thrilled with her. And then Sorcha, same again. She trialled on Tuesday, not an ideal thing to race her on Saturday, but with very lack of options, we just had to. So expect her to be finishing off strongly, but she'll probably likely need this run.
Excellent. And of course, she has won fresh before as well. But Reece, that wraps up the runners for the weekend. Have we got a best bet?
I think El Viento in race 1 at Tauranga will be very hard to beat.
Excellent. El Viento there, race 1 at Tauranga. Thanks for your time, Reece. We're going to jump over to Ben Gleeson now in the Cranbourne Barn, check in on how Imperatrice is tracking into the William Reid Stakes there on Saturday. Well, we've just caught up with Reece Trumper, and now we're across to the Cranbourne stable with Ben Gleeson. Ben, a big week or a monumental week for Te Akau in Australia with 6 runners there at the Valley on Saturday.
Yeah, Hamish, it's going to be a really exciting week ahead. We've got 8 runners this week in total, which is exciting. Biggest week we've had since setting up the Cranbourne base, and obviously got some incredible quality stock, horses that are already here and some that have arrived. It can't be a more exciting weekend ahead.
And let's start with that Group 1 race there, the William Reid Stakes, with obviously 2 runners, Imperatrice and Skew. I understand both horses have been to the beach this morning.
Yeah, Skew, if she won't go there now, we're going to hold back on her. So Imperatrice will be our sole runner, but she's been down the beach. She had a great morning down there. She, in the last few weeks, she goes down. She just gets on the trot in the water and powers through. She's just the happiest horse. The new market's just taken nothing out of her incredibly. It just shows how tough she is and resilient, and she looks amazing in a coat. So she's, I think, come on again. And back to level weights, we're certainly rubbing our hands, and hopefully Opie can give her a peach back at the Valley.
And moving down to the Group 2 Alistair Clark Stakes, Quintessa ran really well in the Australian Guineas there, finishing up 4th, but coming off the pace.
Yeah, she proved herself to be a filly to be reckoned with, I think, being the first one home and taking so much ground off the rest of the field. The first 3 that were in front of her are top colts in the country. So that'll hold her in good form. She's found a pretty even enough race. I know the Hayes horse Apuli is well touted, but I think given where she is in the prep, she's got that fitness on her side. I think she's probably got a little bit more prudence than a horse like that. So hopefully, if Opie from Barrier 9 can just settle in the first half of the field, I think it'll be really key to settle close enough to pounce. But if she's within the first 6 on the corner, I think she'll be very hard to beat.
And moving down to the Group 2 Sunline Stakes, Campionessa came out of running second there to Legato to take out the Peter Young Stakes there in her second run in Australia. How does she stack up going into Saturday?
She's super, Hamish. She's had a little freshen up. So she had a week out at the Water Walker and in a day paddock, and she came back in really rejuvenated in herself. She arrived in dapples and looking great, but I think since she's come back in, she's glowing even more yet again. So she's had a good build up to this race. I think it's certainly not as strong as the race she won first up at Caulfield. So she finds very much the right race back to a mile. Barrier 1 could be a little bit tricky, but hopefully Opie knows her well, and I'm sure he'll get her into the clear at the right time. But I think she probably is the hardest to beat from the team over the weekend.
And the Waikato Stud Train filly certainly takes her place in the Group 3 Alexandra Stakes in her Australian debut. She ran an absolute slasher for 4th behind Quintessa. Behind Quintessa on the Levin Classic, and then came out and won last start there at Ellerslie. When did she arrive?
She only got here yesterday, so it is a quick turnaround. But she's had a good amount of time now between her last Group 3 victory and now, so the team are thrilled with her. Mark and Sam have said she's in incredible order, and she's arrived at exactly that. So she settled in. She had a little trot this morning and took everything in. She's very bright. Coat looks magnificent. And again, similar to Campionessa, she's found the right race. She's got Barrier 3. There's a nice bit of speed in it. If you compare her to Quintessa and that sort of form in a race like this, looking at the market, they've probably certainly underrated her. And if she can settle close enough again, I think she'll be ready to pounce.
And Prismatic wraps up the runners for the weekend there in the BM84 handicap. This horse probably flying a little bit under the radar, Ben.
Yeah, he's going super. His run was bigger than what it probably looked at Pakenham. Just got a bit far back, and Celine let him build into the race, and he was rattling home late. The horse Marble Arch that won it, he came out and won again yesterday at Sandown. So really stamps the form of the race. And he's got a good second up record. I don't think he's missed a place from 3 second up runs. He'll be first out on the Moonee Valley surface, so quite often in the day it's got good cushion in it. And yeah, it's a very level field. I know the ratings, he's a bit out of it on that, but there's one horse the favourite will probably lead up and be hard to reel in, but I think he can run a cheeky race at the odds.
Excellent. Well, that wraps up the runners there at the Valley on Saturday. Have you got a best bet for us of those 6 runners?
God, it's hard to separate them, to be honest. So many good chances. Exciting weekend. I think Campioness, the way she is, she had a little piece of it this morning, and she came in bucking and swirling, and Mark said to me, "That's how you want her. That's what she's like when she's on a game." So I think the draw, Opion, back to a mile, everything just lines up for her to be hard to beat. But the way they've sent Certainly Over, I think between those two, they're going to be the hardest to beat.
Excellent, Ben. Well, thanks for your time this morning, and good luck when you find a preparation before Saturday, and we'll catch you again sometime soon, mate.
Your racing excitement, join Team Akau. It's easy, fun and affordable to be part of New Zealand's #1 stable, and we're now in Australia too. We've won more races, more group races and more prize money than any other stable, nearly $10 million in Australia and New Zealand alone. Imagine racing horses like Imperatriz, Campionessa, whether you're a first-time owner or seasoned pro at tiakauracing.com. Go the Tangerine!